Alright, so I got some parts in, as you just saw. This came in this morning through FedEx, and as you can see, or saw when I was opening it, this piece was basically just, or that piece was broken off completely. And I immediately took a picture of it, and I sent it to the guy on eBay, and I still haven't heard back from him. All I asked him if he could send me just the cap, and so I was like, all right, since he's not going to respond, I'll just go ahead and I called around to a couple of the auto parts stores and found several of them. Now, they came in two colors. I wanted the black one to go with the color scheme, and they had like a grayish, like this guy. And I was like, nope, I want the black one. So I finally found the black one, went with that one, and it was actually one that was made in Japan. So I was like, all right, cool, that works. And another thing, when I took it apart, the rotor area, this right here, wasn't spinning. So that definitely alarmed me, because I thought maybe when it was shipped and damaged, they either bent the rod inside or something else was damaged. So I took it apart and I kind of adjusted everything, and now it turns freely. Now I don't know, I'm assuming FedEx was the one that damaged it, but I couldn't find the piece that was broken off inside the box. I don't know why, somebody would send a damaged piece in the first place, but there you go. I bought the cap, and I also got some new wires, so I'm going to go ahead and replace those. I got those hub-centric rings that I was talking about as well. These, I'm not sure if they're going to work. They look a little too thin. I also got that 45 degree AN, 16 AN fitting that I was missing. Some more hose, and I got some more fittings. And when I opened up the package with this stuff, they sent the two fittings, because I didn't know that I ordered them from the same company. And there was a red and a blue one in there. And I was like, they sent me the wrong stuff. And that just completely pissed me off, and I was like, all right. So I opened up the rest of the package, and they were all in there. And that one, for some reason, they just kind of sent to me as a freebie, I guess. I don't know. Also went to the hardware store, picked up some bolts, stainless steel bolts, to replace those ones that I was talking about with the, that go to hold the thermostat housing and that plastic piece. These are 5/16 a standard thread pitch. So what I'm going to do is figure out how long I need it, cut it, and then thread it to an M6. So that way I have the stainless steel with the Allen head like this. I still haven't checked to see if it's even going to work, but we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and put on this distributor and the wires, and the reason why I brought the old ones is because these ones are numbered, and they show the positions of where they go, so that way I put them on right. Alright, so everything is on. It fit perfectly. The only thing is I got to take off the cover again to make sure I put it in the right cylinder number 1, because you have to have it in top dead center before, when you line up your timing belt and stuff like that. That was the only thing I got to check. And I'm waiting on the bolts from 100 Proof Hardware for the distributor, so I can bolt it on completely, but everything else is on. Looks good, and this is why I wanted that black cap, so it can go with all the colors and stuff like that. And I marked these bolts here where they needed to be cut and where they needed to be rethreaded, and that should work. They all measured pretty good. Now this thing is the rotor for the other side. These are the hub-centric rings that I got, and they're supposed to go on the underside, but as you can see, they don't fit. Now I could cut it and then squeeze it and stuff like that, but I want to get the ones that actually fit. So I'm going to go ahead and take these with me to work and use my calipers to get exact measurements. And I have a hub, the old hub that I had taken off of that one before I put the new ones on, and that I can get exact measurements, because I kind of was just checking online for measurements and stuff like that, and that of course didn't seem to work because these don't fit. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that tomorrow, cut those and rethread them, and then I can swap out, let's see, I can swap out this bolt right here, install the bolt here, that'll tighten that up, and then put the other bolt in there, that'll hold that in place. And what else? Oh, I put that guy on there, so that 45 goes up to thermostat housing port. And I'm still waiting on the straight connections, the AN fittings, so I can, for the top one, I had ordered 2 of those. Looks like I'm only going to need 1 of them. And extra hose, so I can, when I put the engine in, I can figure out how long I need all this stuff. So I haven't been working on the car for the last 2 or 3 days. Been working on this. It's going to be a little craft room or she shed, whatever you want to call it, for my girlfriend. And so yeah, I've been working on this. Went ahead and put up the framing for the walls, and went out of town yesterday. Picked up all the stuff that I needed to start working on the car again. I got a new tap and die set, and Allen wrenches and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been working on this and worked on it all day, pretty much today. I got all this done. We just need to go pick up some more materials so we can get the outside done and then start doing the roofing. But it's already about 3 o'clock, so I'm going to work on the car a little bit now and then see how far I get on that. if you'll be able to hear me because it's kind of windy now, but so I went ahead, as you just saw, rethreaded the 2 bolts that were here and got those installed. So this is now on, nice and solid. And also replaced the temperature sensor right there, which for some reason that piece took like 2.5 weeks to come in. I'm not sure why. It like went from Colorado to Nevada to Denver to everywhere. So that little sensor just traveled everywhere. Like I said, I went to out of town to Harbor Freight, picked up these tools that I needed, tightened up this thing, the header with the bolts, and I'm still waiting on the bolts to come in. I got a notification yesterday that they sent them out, so once I get those in, I can tighten this up. Alright, so here's, went to the mail this morning, got a couple of things in. We'll start off with these. Well, I've already had these. I had used these hub-centric rings to put on the hub so the rotor would fit, and they ended up being too big. And what I had did was I actually had cut like a little slot in this one so it would fit, but it was still not fitting quite right. I mean, it'll fit, but it still kind of had a little bit of play because the thickness of the wall was too thin. So I went ahead and got the dial calipers and I made sure I measured everything exactly. And I got these guys. These are not aluminum. They're a polycarbonate material, which is still strong. And all I need to really do is just center the rotor onto the hub. And I got it so it'll fit perfect in there. And so, basically you just put this on the hub or the rotor, whatever you want to put it on first. And that fits on there like that. And then that fits on the rotor or the hub. So now there's no movement. I mean, there is movement from like, let's see, from here you can see a little bit of movement in between this area because it's smaller, but when you tighten this down, that'll keep the rotor in place. The only thing I wanted it to really do was center the rotor onto the hub so there was no wobbling, as far as it not being centered. So that's going to work for that. So that's good. Next thing I did was I ordered these from NPC Motorsport. They are the rest of the hardware that I need to get the engine finally put together again. As you saw in the last video as well, or actually in a couple, I ordered a brand new distributor, and I was going to replace the bolts with this stuff. I got a refund from the company for the cap, not for the whole thing. I thought, on their email they said they were just going to refund me the whole thing, and I was like, all right. But then they asked me yesterday how much the cap was, and I paid like $13 or something like that with tax. So they just refunded me $13, which is good. I didn't have to wait a month for the cap to come in. And so yeah, I got these, so the distributor can go on, bolted on finally. And these are for the intake manifold. And yesterday I went to the storage unit and picked up the transmission, so I can start putting that together. But I figured it would be easier with the engine out of the bay to take off the studs for the intake manifold. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the intake manifold studs first before I actually attach the transmission onto the engine itself, so I can put it in. So that's where I'm at right now. That's good, and that's good. Still waiting on a couple of fittings, AN fittings for the radiator hose. Basically, a couple of straight fittings for the radiator hose is what I'm waiting for, and I don't know, a couple of other little things, but yeah, I've just been busy doing all kinds of other things, you know, working on my girlfriend's she shed. I got to go out of town today to go pick up a bunch of material. Yesterday, I took out the ruckus and washed it because it's been sitting in the back shop for ever and ever. I did price out a rear disc brake conversion because the drum brake doesn't stop very well. So, you know that shed that I was building for the last 2 or 3 days? Well, today got really, really, really windy, and this happened. So, originally I'd used, I know this has nothing to do with the car, but like I say, I've been working on this for my girlfriend for the past 3 or 4 days, and I went out of town to go get the paneling for the outside, and the wind was just really, really hard today, and as you can probably hear in the audio, but I get to redo this all. But instead of using nails with the nail gun, I'm going to use 3-inch screws, because it just ripped them out, as you can see. Just totally ripped them out. And so now I'm going to go ahead and just redo them with the 3-inch screws. My girlfriend went to go grab a big box of them, so we can go ahead and of course she's completely just devastated because this is her she shed. So, but yeah, I've already rebuilt one wall, so I'm about to do the other one. It'll take me probably about 30 minutes to get it all back together with this. Alright, so after yesterday's, or the day before was actually, the wind blowing down everything, I immediately started just reassembling the stuff, but I was using these 3-inch screws and got all the framing back together, and it's really sturdy now. Yesterday we had some really heavy-duty winds. We had a big gust come through and it blew a lot of stuff everywhere, but the shed's still standing. So yesterday we got the paneling on the outside, and I got that all done. So the back is completely done. And next, I got to make the trusses for the roof. guys, so basically this is what's happening right now. These are the window trim moldings that go on the channels, or the side glass goes up and down. I did want to get these brand new, but I can't find them anywhere. I mean, I found a couple of them, but like for this one piece right here, it was like $180. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to buy them all and spend $1,000, because there's actually 2 sets per door. And this is the other piece here. So there's basically 2 pieces to a door. This is kind of like the outer channel, and this is the inner channel where the glass slides into. And so I decided to just kind of take a look at them, and where I was really worried about it was up on this upper edge to see if it was frayed or anything, and they seem to be pretty good. So all I did, and I've already done this top one, and you can kind of see the difference between the two, is I just got some Armor All and just flooded it and used a brush, kind of just went through it. I'll kind of do a little piece here so you can see what the difference is. So basically just do that, and I use a brush so I can get in all these little crevices, and that kind of gets all that dirt and dust and junk out of there. And then just wipe it down, and they look, compared to that, you can see they look a lot better. So yeah, I'm going to do all of them that way, and that way I can get them back on. I got to find the other one, this one, for this looks like the passenger side on a right-hand drive. So I'll have to find the driver's side and do that one as well, and then and install them. Windy as usual, and the shed's still standing. So, but I did a little bit of work on this guy. Finally got the transmission on with a small amount of damage to the paint. This one was already there, this chip. But there's some down at the bottom which you won't be able to see, and little things like that, which I could probably just touch up, And I did forget to do one spot, and don't know how I'm going to do it. Maybe just mask off and paint, but right inside there, didn't get inside there, so a bit OCD on some of this stuff, but whatever. Oh, I ended up getting the clutch on, but I couldn't record at the same time because it's kind of a pain to have this engine up and the wind is swinging it all over the place. So yeah, I got the clutch on and I dropped it down and got the transmission on, so that went on pretty smooth. Got the half shaft on with all the dress-up bolts from 100 Proof Hardware. Also got the starter on with the bolts as well. Slave cylinder, pretty much everything. Still need to take off these studs so I can get the bolts in for the God, it's so windy. Alright, so woke up early this morning and it looks like we're gonna get some rain. We're actually entering into the monsoon season here, and I really want to get this engine in the bay before it starts to rain, for the monsoon season, because I don't want any water getting inside these areas right here, as well as the intake manifold area. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put in the engine right now. I went ahead and taped up all this stuff, and hopefully I won't scratch it. I'm going to go ahead and take off the mount on the transmission side and then install that after we get the engine in and kind of situated. This one here I'll leave on, and hopefully I can line it up without damaging a lot of the paint. Alright, so it's in. Didn't have any major problems, except for the fact that I had run the sling for the engine hoist around this motor mount. So when I put it in, it was caught up in there, so I had to loosen these bolts, drop it, and then pull it out. But that wasn't too bad. Everything lined up as you saw. So it is in. The only thing I need to do now is put in the rear mount or bracket. The mount is already on, just got to put the bracket on, and then I can go ahead and start connecting like the shift linkage and the exhaust, and all just tiny things. But yeah, the engine is in and looking really nice, I might say. I did have one hater visit and do some damage to my core, my spark plug boot. Seemed to be a mouse or something like that came and nibbled on this thing. I don't know why, but it didn't go all the way through, so that's alright, I guess. But yeah, it's gonna start raining pretty soon, so I'm glad I got this in, and now I can get the front bumper back on. And then I was going to start making the brackets for the hood, but when I closed the hood, I noticed that the lines weren't meeting up, so I'm going to have to move the brackets a little bit forward so everything lines up and all the lines look good, and then I can make the bracket or the pin, because I've made the pin now the way it is. It won't line up after I move the bracket, so that'll be one of the last things, I guess.